the reason's simple, like I said before. I know it's true for Joe, it's true for John Legend, who was part of our roundtable. It's true for Alonzo Mourning, who's here, part of our board. We see ourselves in these young men. I grew up without a dad. I grew up lost sometimes in adrift, not having a sense of a clear path. And the only difference between me and a lot of the other young men in this neighborhood and all across the country is that I grew up in an environment that was a little more forgiving. And at some critical points, I had some people who cared enough about me to give me a second chance or a third chance, or to give me a little guidance when I needed it, or to open up a door that might otherwise have been closed. I was lucky. Alex Santos is lucky too. Where's Alex? Alex is here. Stand up, Alex. So Alex was born in Puerto Rico, grew up in Brooklyn and the Bronx, in some tough neighborhoods. When he was 11, he saw his mom's best friend, a man he respected and looked up to, shot and killed. His older brothers dropped out of school, got caught up in drugs and violence. So Alex didn't see a whole lot of options for himself, couldn't envision a path to a better future. He then dropped out of school. But then his mom went back to school and got her GED. She set an example. That inspired Alex to go back and get his GED. Actually, it's more like she stayed on him until he went back. And I know, because just like I was lucky, I also had a mom who used to get on my case about my studies, so I could relate. But this is what Alex says about his mom. She made me realize that no matter what, there's a second chance in life. So today, Alex is getting his GED. He's developed a passion for sports. His dream is to one day work with kids as a coach and set an example for them. He says he never thought he could go to college. Now he believes he can. All Alex wants to be is a good role model for his younger brothers, Carlos and John, who are bright and hardworking and doing well in school. And he says, they matter so much to my life, and I matter to theirs. So Alex and his brothers and all the young people here, all the young ones who are out there struggling, the simple point to make is you matter. You matter to us. It was interesting, during the roundtable, we asked these young men, incredible, gifted young men, like Darnell, asked them, what advice would you give us? And they talked about mentor programs, and they talked about, counseling programs and guidance programs in schools. But one young man, Malachi, he just talked about, we should talk about love. Because Malachi and I shared the fact that our dad wasn't around. And that sometimes we wondered why he wasn't around and what had happened. But really that's what this comes down to is, do we love these kids? See, if we feel like because they don't look like us, or they don't talk like us, or they don't live in the same neighborhood as us, that they're different, that they can't learn, or they don't deserve better, or it's okay if their schools are run down, or it's okay if the police are given a mission just to contain them rather than to encourage them, then it's not surprising that we're going to lose a lot of them. But that's not the kind of country I want to live in. That's not what America's about. So my message to Alex and Malachi and Darnell and to all the young men out there and young boys who aren't in this room haven't yet gotten that helping hand, haven't yet gotten that guidance. I want you to know you matter. You matter to us. You matter to each other. There's nothing, not a single thing that's more important to the future of America than whether or not you and young people all across this country can achieve their dreams. And we are one people, and we need each other. And we should love every single one of our kids, and then we should show that love. Not just give lip service to it. Not just talk about it in church and then ignore it. Not just have a seminar about it and not deliver. It's hard. We've got an accumulation of not just decades, but in some cases centuries of trauma that we're having to overcome. But if Alex is able to overcome what he's been through, then we as a society should be able to overcome what we've been through. If Alex can put the past behind him and look towards the future, we should be able to do the same. I'm going to keep on fighting, and everybody here is going to keep on fighting to make sure that all of our kids have the opportunity to make of their lives what they will. Today is just the beginning. We're going to keep at this.
We've been listening to President Obama here speaking at Lehman College in the Bronx, speaking about the launching of My Brother's Keeper Alliance, right? Getting all these private organizations together to help young people of color in communities such as West Baltimore. And quite the juxtaposition. I know a lot of you have been tweeting me what's going on in Baltimore. So on the right side of your screen, these are live pictures, and this is right by, they call it the Penn North area. This is the intersection of Penn and North Streets, in which right around the corner is where the CVS was looted and burned down just 2 weekends ago. Just to give you some perspective in the lay of the land, there has been an incident. So let's get specifics because it's just early on. We need to be precise as far as what's happening here. So Evan Perez is our justice correspondent. He's hopping on the phone with me. Evan, what are police telling you what happened?
Yeah, it was a very confusing situation, Brooke. At this point now, police say that they were trying to arrest a suspect on what was an alleged handgun violation. At some point, he tried to, this is according to the police, he tried to toss the handgun that he had with him, and the handgun went off. Initially, we thought that he had accidentally, or at least the police thought that maybe he had injured himself, but they now say that he fell and that they don't believe he has actually been injured by a gunshot. Brooke, at first people were tweeting and so on about that there was another police shooting, and obviously this very tense situation in Baltimore. This is the last thing this city needs right now. But we're now told that the suspect was not injured in that incident per se. He was taken to the hospital to make sure he was okay in the fall, but there was no gunshot.
Okay, let me also just read a tweet, Evan. Again, just reiterating, this is again from the Baltimore Police Twitter handle. The reports of a man being shot at North and Pennsylvania Avenue are not true. Officers have arrested a man for a handgun at the location, and as Evan was just reporting, so this individual, it sounds like because of his fall, was taken to the hospital. But Evan, again, just to reiterate, Baltimore Police reporting he's okay. Obviously, though, a lot of people are looking at these pictures. Like you said, this is the last thing this city needs. You have, police mobilized, police lines on the north and south sides of the street. Looks like cars not able to get in and out. Do you know anything more about what's happening there on the ground?
That's right. It's the last thing the city needs at this moment is another tense situation at that particular corner. And again, there's a lot of people on the street who were reacting. They thought this man was injured by the police, and that is not true, according to the police. They say that he was trying to toss the handgun that he had, and it did go off, and that's what the misunderstanding came from. But they say he appears to be fine, and this is just a simple arrest. But obviously, as you pointed out, nothing is normal right now in Baltimore. Just given what everything has gone down with the police officers and this community, and particularly that community.
Exactly. Evan Perez, thank you so much with what you're hearing from Baltimore Police. I've got Tom Fuentes with me as well, former Assistant Director of the FBI, law enforcement analyst. And Tom, let me just bring you in because I want you to explain to me some of what we're looking at. I mean, obviously, we're not on the ground, but when you see, as I've been watching, it looks like there was this police line, and I think there still is when the camera would really, zoom out, and you could see on the north side of the street and on the south side of the street almost setting up a perimeter. Why would they be doing that?
They'd be trying to preserve the crime scene, Brooke, and look for evidence and see if there's anything else that the young man threw on the sidewalk or got rid of, including the firearms. So that's just standard procedure to block off people from walking over the crime scene until they finish looking for any other material that might be part of the investigation.
Okay, and then when you hear handgun violation, right, so this is, Evan was reporting that police are saying they were approaching an individual over a handgun violation. What does that mean?
Well, to me, a lot of times people, business owners or somebody else nearby might witness somebody pulling a gun out of his pocket to show it off, or putting it in and out of his pocket, and would call the police and say, this individual appears to have a handgun. It doesn't look like a security guard or a uniformed or off-duty police officer. So the officers would respond and try to check out the person and see if they have a handgun and if it's lawful for them to have that gun. So what happens after that, in this case, dropping the gun going off, that will remain for more investigation. But, as Evan mentioned, the city of Baltimore wants to go back to normal, or at least a new normal. But nobody has mentioned, and I just received information a short time ago, that since last Tuesday, when the heavy police and military deployment arrived, since that time, there have been 12 shootings in Baltimore, 9 of them homicides. So I guess if it's going to go back to the new normal, which average was about 6 murders a week in Baltimore, that's sad but true if they go back to normal.
Sad but true indeed. Tom Fuentes, do me a favor and stand by. I have another voice I want to bring in. My colleague Athena Jones. She's joining me on the phone. They're from the scene. I've got you, Athena. Can you hear me? You're live on CNN.
Yes, I can hear you, Brooke. We're here at the corner of West North Avenue in Pennsylvania. This was the scene of a lot of the distress, the unrest last week on Monday night. We're right across the street from the burn CVS. And there's a crowd forming because there were reports of a police-involved shooting. This is the information we have. The Baltimore Police Department has tweeted this. They said the reports of a man being shot at North and Pennsylvania Avenue are not true. Officers have arrested a man for a handgun at the location. Now, we're still gathering information, but I have a little bit more from our own Evan Perez, who said that the police department officers were trying to arrest a suspect near this intersection of Northern Pennsylvania this afternoon. The suspect was carrying a handgun, and when the suspect, attempted to throw the handgun, it discharged. This is according to a source with the Baltimore Police Department. The bullet from that weapon hit the suspect. We understand that he's not been killed. But that is what happened. Of course, we're still gathering facts. I've got to tell you, Brooke, though, there are a lot of people around here, just as we were approaching this scene, who had a different story. Just as we arrived, a woman said, too many people saw the police shoot that man. So it's very clear that there are a lot of people in this crowd who don't believe the take from the Baltimore Police Department. I should tell you again, you'll remember the police lines we've seen after Monday, so Tuesday, last week. A line of police blocking the road, blocking the intersection here. We're seeing that again now. Several dozen police officers with those their shields, the plastic shields, in helmet, with their helmets on, are now blocking the road at the same intersection where we saw so much destruction last week. So it's clear a lot of people are concerned. They're trying to figure out what's going on, and so are we.
Right. I mean, they've established this perimeter, as Tom Fuentes was just explaining, to protect the scene here as they're gathering evidence. I hear you loud and clear on how some of the people in this community, right, have a different story. There is a real deep-seated mistrust in the Baltimore City Police Department when you talk to some of these people in the communities. But again, Baltimore police saying this individual, they were trying to arrest this individual over a gun violation, gun dropped, gun went